Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, your podcast for all mental health, addiction recovery issues and topics. I just messed that up because I was trying to do a new intro. So let me rewind real quick. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, your podcast for recovery focused healing from addictions and traumas. Today is a special one because we're checking back in with a guest who has truly walked the walk and he's ran the 100 miles to prove it. He's the author of Your Mindset is Your Reality, a competitive strongman, a globally ranked hit athlete, and the founder of Get Psyched Fitness. He joined us before to share how a single psychedelic experience helped him break generational cycles of addiction. But the question remains, once the epiphany is over, how do you do the work when the road gets long and lonely? Back for the sequel, please welcome back the man who proves you can lift heavy and run far pretty quickly, too, John Borden.
What's up, Keegan? Happy to be back, brother.
Oh, it's good to have you back, my friend. So last time we spoke, you told us all about your first psychedelic experience and how you were also at electronic dance carnival, I believe, and then the experiences that you had there after breaking off from your group of friends, and then after that, just everything changed, but nothing changed at the same time, right?
Yeah. And that comes down to the title of the book. Your mindset is your reality. It's what you can change by changing your reality in here, just by changing the way that you think about the world. And it's been a magical transition for me, and I'm so grateful to be able to speak from this perspective on it.
Yeah, it's amazing too because I mean, you went from just going and sitting in your apartment on the weekends feeling broke and like just beyond repair, and then next thing you know, you're like after our last conversation, I believe you actually went and ran 100 miles and then after that gave a speech. Like how did you do that?
That's what the hat says, at least. Yeah. So, yeah, on November 8th, I woke up at the ass crack of dawn, 3:30 in the morning. I drove out to the other side of Tampa Bay. I started running at 5
Mhm.
and didn't stop until 4 a.m. the next morning. So it
Mm.
was 23 total hours of race time. My watch actually broke it down for me. It was like 15 hours of running, 4 hours of walking, and like 2.5 hours of not moving. I don't know if there's right. It doesn't sound it. Yeah, there's an hour missing somewhere, but you get the gist. Yeah, so it was an intense day. It was a fun day, but it was a lot different than I expected it to be for a number of different reasons. But it was so fulfilling on so many different levels, and just one of those weekends really the people that were there with me during it, and then the experience that I had of being able to talk about it and talk about the potential of psychedelics to help
Mm.
us reach new levels physically and in our personal lives. Just 12 hours after that, after I finished that race, it was an amazing experience, Keegan.
Oh man, that sounds mind blowing to me because like I've had a few days where I've stayed up all day and everything, but I wasn't running the whole time, you know? It was like we're going to either be doing this or that, and I had to stay up to watch people and so on and so forth, or just other instances of staying up for whatever reason. But I mean, you went and literally did 100 miles, and a lot of people have a hard time just doing 5, you know? Like, I don't know if I could do 5 right now in my physical condition, minus the foot surgery and, like, other stuff, but that's kinda the thing. You just pushed past a personal barrier, right? And was it because your perspective just shifted?
Yeah, man, that's exactly it. And there were so many nights when I was up until 4 a.m. for very different reasons. So just glad that this is the reason nowadays.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's exactly it. Is if you had asked the me that inhabited this body 3 years ago, hey, do you think you'll ever go out and run 100 miles? I would have thought you were fucking stupid for even asking the question.
Yeah.
I was a power lifter, right? And I was a
Mhm.
partier. That was what I did. And running wasn't even a blip on the radar. It wasn't something I dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
But it started with the question of, okay, what is a way that I can challenge myself? And that started with a Spartan race half marathon 2 years ago. That
Mhm.
I'm actually going to run that same course on this coming Saturday. So
Oh,
be
wow.
in the past by the time this is published. But yeah, going back to the first race I ever did on Saturday, so that's gonna be really fun. But it just started with that question of, okay, how far can I push myself? And I had never run more than a few miles before that half marathon, and went out and did that, and it was just like, okay, there's so much more that I can give. And 9 months after that, it was a 46-mile ultra. And then, this one I actually decided to train for and not just go out and do. And man, just the training that I put in was really an amazing, amazing thing because, for the longest time in all of these races, I've told myself, okay, if I train legitimately hard for this and put myself through what I need to put myself through to be ready for these races,
Mhm.
I'm going to do myself very proud. And I finished with the fastest time of anybody else who it was their first 100-mile race. I came in
Wow.
sixth overall out of 77, and I
Wow.
finished in under 24 hours, which is a huge, huge, huge milestone for 100-mile races. So just really proud of the performance that I put on, and uh, you
Huh.
know, just an experience that blew my mind in so many different ways.
Dude, I can't even imagine that because 100 miles is a long way. Like whenever we sit there and we think about a mile, it doesn't seem that far until you have to walk it or run it.
Mhm.
And then you're like halfway through and you're like, oh, what the hell was I thinking? But you're sitting there and did you have that feeling like along that 100 miles? Like, was there a point where you were like, damn, this was kind of stupid?
Yeah, from the time I took my first step, you kidding? No, but so here's the thing, Keegan, is that like so many people um, talk about the mental struggles of
Hmm.
ultra marathons and like the deep, 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 deep within yourself that you need to dig to be able to just cross the finish line.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because of the psychedelics. I microdosed psilocybin throughout the race.
Hmm.
That kind of helped to keep my mindset positive, or just keep my thoughts in a way that I could control them.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's just that I had done so much to prepare myself that I felt in control the whole time, or what it is, but there was never a point during the race where I doubted myself, where I had any sort of negative mindset, where, my central nervous system got raised to the point where I'm yelling or frustrated or anything like that. It was just, cool as a cucumber the whole time, smooth sailing. And there was a lot of doubt going into the race because I had
Hmm.
had shin splints leading up to it. So
Ugh.
I wasn't able to train actually for the 3 weeks leading up to that. I had done 50 miles in 2 days,
Mm.
3 weeks before the race, and that was going to be my big like crescendo of bulk mileage before the race, and then I was going to
Mhm.
taper it off to like two 40-mile weeks and then a 20-mile week leading up to the race, but I couldn't run at all over
Uh,
those weeks. So
ooh.
I mean, I did 10 total miles just trying to test out my legs and make sure that they were all right, but I wasn't getting the feedback I was looking for.
Oh,
So I was
man.
concerned about what my shins were going to feel like going into the race.
Mhm.
Um, and I had done 46 before, but that was the longest that I had done. And I had done 46 with basically, I'll say no training. I was running like 15, 20 miles a week leading up to the times that I did 46.
Mhm.
Um, and so, there was a lot of uncertainty about what my legs would feel like. There was a lot of uncertainty about what it would feel like once I passed that 46-mile mark.
Mhm.
But I passed the 46-mile mark 2 hours faster than I did it 2.5 months prior,
Wow.
during the 46-mile ultra that I did.
Mhm.
And so to be able to get to that point 2 hours quicker really gave me a big boost of confidence. And
Yeah.
then I got to the two marathon mark. I got to mile, 52.4 at 10 hours and 50 minutes. So that put me well within range of getting to the finish line in under 24 hours. And
Uh-huh.
so once I was there, it was just, okay, I know what my mission is now. People had asked me leading up to the race, what do you have as a goal time? And I would say, my A goal is to finish in under 24 hours. I don't know how realistic that is. I've never done this before. I'm being told that 30 hours would be like a good time for
Yeah.
the first one, but really goal is just to finish and finish as quickly as possible. But
Mhm.
the time is just a bonus if it ends up doing something like that. And so to be able to
Yeah.
come in, I came in 23 hours flat, and so to be able to do that and finish well with under that 24-hour mark. It was really,
Mhm.
really, really fulfilling for me to be able to do that and to be able to stand on that and say, hey, the preparation that I put into this race really put me in a spot to be able to maximize my performance and do myself
Mhm.
proud. And I'm just elated with how it turned out.
Dude, that is way too cool, and I'm super proud of you too because that is something that I think I th man, I mean, our ancestors would be so proud, because all they did was run all the time,
Yeah,
and
chasing around the
that's
buffalo, baby.
yeah, and that's the thing is that humans are just meant to run, but so many of us don't do it anymore like we probably should. But
Hmm.
it's kind of like what you said in the first episode was about that chosen suffering.
Yep.
And I think it's really interesting how everything's just kind of coming full circle almost because you're about to do the first race that you ever did. And then on top of that, you just got done doing a 100 miler, but you kind of had the same circumstances of the 100 miler leading up to your first race. You couldn't really prep before you out of your own say so. And then you just went and did it and said you were going to do it.
Hmm.
And you also did you do microdosing for your first race as well, or was that a little trick that you were like, "Oh, I think this might help a little bit?"
Yeah, looking back, I can't remember for certain, but I would be more surprised if I didn't than if I did.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And I mean, it's one of those things that if you notice that it gives you a little bit of that mental clarity, then
Mhm.
it's like who doesn't want some mental clarity? And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people kind of fall into addiction to. They think that being emotionally numb and being distant from their problems on the inside is like, oh, yeah, I can focus on other things. And it's like, nah, it's just sitting there in the corner waiting for you to turn around again, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You can't escape it, the only escape is by embracing, and,
Hmm.
that's like the whole fight or flight thing. You can run away from your problems all day long, but if you never confront them, you're never gonna get past it. You're never gonna it's like
Mhm.
playing a video game and getting to a boss and being like, "Oh, man, I can't beat that boss. I'm gonna go train more, train more, train more." Okay, well, you can
Mhm.
do that all you want, but until you go face that, you're not getting to the next level.
Yeah. And I mean, we sometimes are ill-equipped maybe, and so sometimes, like you said, we have to go train, we have to go grind, we have to put ourselves through the ringer on purpose to get a little bit stronger, and that's a roadblock a lot of us don't realize is there because one reason or another, our bodies may not want to cooperate with what we feel like in our brains, right? So whenever that happens, there's that kind of dissonant, cognitive dissonance to where you think you're capable, but your body just won't let you do the things that you want to do. So is that kind of how you felt whenever I saw the video of you lifting that boulder and winning that competition? Or can you tell us a little bit about that? What was that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what you're probably talking about, it came up during the speech that I gave
Mm,
after the race. And so, the speech really centered around the ability of psychedelics to help us reach a new level for ourselves athletically. And
yeah.
that's something that I experienced during my first strongman competition. And, what you're referring to there is the Atlas stones. And,
Mm.
you know,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
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 So Strongman's something that, like, I watched as a kid all the time. It was on
Mhm.
ESPN2 until 3 or 4 in the morning, and, hey, there we go, 4 in the morning, I was up for something. And I would stay up watching that all the time as a kid, and
Mhm.
it was kind of a dream of mine to compete in Strongman.
Oh, yeah.
But I've always been a small kid, I was the lightest competitor in the field in the first strongman competition that I did, and, I
Mm.
put on a little bit of weight since then, but, still, I mean, I mean, I'm a big guy compared to a lot of people, but I'm not a big guy compared to the dudes that do strongman, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and so I was the lightest competitor in the field, and the final event was picking up an Atlas stone, and this one weighed 45 pounds more than I did. It was
Damn.
215 pounds, and I weighed 170. And so it was head to head, me versus the guy next to me, who can pick it up and put it over the bar more times. And leading up to that, I had been practicing. I'd been going to weekly classes on how to do this and have been working up the weight. And I had started at 185 pounds and gotten up to 215. And I was able to do that one time. And going into the competition, it was slated to be a 225-pound stone, which I had not been able to do.
Mhm.
And so on game day, they actually dropped the weight from 225 to 215. And I'm like, okay, well, I've done this one. So, after four events, after the fingal fingers and log press and deadlifts, I did 14 deadlifts of 390 pounds in a minute. And then the next
God.
event after that was picking up this stone. And I told myself, I'm fucking exhausted. If I can do this once, I'm going to be happy.
Mhm.
And, there were 10 people in my weight class, 10, which was under 225 pounds, by the way. So I was
Wow.
leaving a lot on the table. So it was the guy who was in 10th place when it went against the guy who was in ninth place. Then the winner of that went against eight, which is where I was. I was in eighth place. And then winner goes against seven versus six, all the way up to one, right?
Mhm.
Um, so 10 goes against nine, 10 can't pick up the stone. So he's out. I step in.
Okay.
I pick up the stone. I get it over the bar. I, exhaust myself on that one rep. I feel awesome. I'm the first one to put the stone over the bar.
Uh-huh.
And then my opponent picks it up, struggles, but gets it over the bar.
Uh.
And I'm like, okay, this was not as simple as I thought it was going to be. Let's keep going.
Uh-huh.
And so I grit and I squeeze and I pull it up and I put it over the bar again and again and again. And eventually my opponent taps out. Next guy gets in.
Oh,
He can't
no.
put it over the bar. He's out. Next guy gets in, puts it over. I put it back over, puts it over, put it back over, puts it over, put it back over, puts it over, put it back over. In total, I put the stone over the bar 15 times when I would have been happy to do it once going into the competition. And meanwhile, the whole crowd is rocking. Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff is playing, and I'm just bouncing up and down. I'm encouraging the crowd to sing along with me. And
Uh-huh.
people you can see, like in the video, all their heads bopping and shit, and just having so much fun.
Huh.
Uh, so, yeah, I won the Spirit of Strength Award during the competition for that performance. It was awarded to me unanimously, voted on by the judges who are former professional strongman competitors. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and so they just love the fire that I had. They love the fun,
Uh-huh.
and for me being the lightest competitor in the competition and putting up the effort that I did really impressed a lot of people. So it was just an awesome thing, and I microdosed LSD during that. I'd done well, I guess a full dose. It was a full tab throughout the
Mhm.
day, but two half tab doses.
Yeah.
And, I really feel like the LSD helped me reach a new level within myself to really feel my body, feel that potential, and
Mhm.
just be in the moment for that one rep, not think about, oh man, am I going to be able to do this 15 times and outlast three guys? No. Can I do it one time? Yes.
Mhm.
Can I do it one time? Yes. And just answering that question for myself over and over and over again.
Oh, man. Dude, that of holy shit. Like, I gotta say, that is crazy because I can't even imagine doing that one time, you know? Like, I could maybe get it to the bar. I don't know about over. I don't know, like, how tall was the bar? Like, uh,
It
chest high?
was, yeah, so I'm 5'8", and it
Okay.
was probably, like, the top of my chest. It was probably, like, a, 48" or maybe a little bit higher than that.
Mhm. Damn, that's a lot. But I mean, doing it in so many successions, and then not only that, being done after everything else, and then having ran 100 miles before that. Holy shit, dude. Like, I don't think that that gave you a new level. I think you just like made a new level.
Well, so the 100 miles was a month ago. That was in
Oh,
November. The Strongman was back in
gotcha.
February, but
Okay.
the fun thing is that I did do the Strongman on February 1st, and then I ran a marathon on February 9th. So
Oh.
we weren't too far apart.
Fair enough. Sorry
Yeah.
for the confusion. But I mean, I do have to say, regardless, so you're sitting there and I think you're tapping on something really important because that digging deep, like whenever people say you got to dig deep, what does that look like? Because
Mm,
some people may not necessarily know what digging deep is because they don't know what it feels like. They don't know where to do it for themselves. And maybe it's a little bit different for everyone. And I know for myself, if I dig deep, it kind of starts up here and like I can feel the signal go down.
mhm.
And like it literally depends on how far down it goes and then kind of back up. Uh, that's what I kind of feel whenever it's dig deep.
Is that from a physical sense? Like if you're in like physical competition, that's how you feel it happening?
That's kind of sort of. It's
Mhm,
also the mental aspect of it, like
mm,
trying to get my body into that state, I guess.
mhm.
Like I may be weird because I can feel my awareness like go all throughout my body.
Yeah.
So like I can give myself goosebumps and stuff like that. And so
Intentionally?
yeah,
Oh,
like
wow.
it sometimes it works, but sometimes it's not like sometimes it's a fun party trick, but it's not one that I like to bloat about and then like try it and then it not work. So I usually just like, yeah, not going to say anything. But I kind of feel like that's the
Just
awareness
keep an
and
ice cube in your pocket.
but
Fun party trick.
But whenever you dig deep, what does it feel like for you? How do you like what did LSD do for you and your brain to dig deeper than before?
Yeah. That's a really great question, Keegan. And it's one of those that I don't know if I could answer very specifically in that instance, just because when it's happening, you don't really realize that it's happening. You're just present in the moment,
Mm,
And so, like I said before, it's not a okay, can I do this incredible feat that's going to blow my mind 9 months later when I look back on it,
uh-huh.
but can I do this one rep right now?
Mm,
What I would say though is that you know the time that I've spent with psychedelics and being alone with my thoughts and just being able to self-analyze
mhm.
has really helped me tap into a primal side to myself. And
Okay.
yeah, that's something that I think is a little bit overused terminology in today's day and age, like being primal. But
Or misused?
yeah, yeah, misused, overused, but like there's just an animalistic side to myself that
Mhm.
I've discovered. I first really felt it about 15 months ago. I was out in Colorado and I was doing a hike up Pikes Peak. And
Ooh.
in that moment, I saw my shadow portrayed down in front of me as I'm walking. And I see my shoulders and I see my quads and, just the taper of my body. And
Mhm.
I realized that I am an animal, right? Like if I were out in the wild, I would be a vicious predator to so many other things out there.
Mhm.
And it was like a really weird mindset flip that went on. And in the time since then, I've noticed so many other instances, whether it's, doing yoga and stretching or, working out or running or whatever, where this connection to this animalistic side to myself comes out and I feel this savage, the psycho that gets psycho
Uh-huh.
really come forth. And uh, in a sense that came through. I mean, it definitely came through during the 100 miler, especially at mile 88.
Oh,
Um,
man.
yeah. So at between mile, I'll say 50, Yeah, between mile, yeah, let's say 50 and 88, I think I saw
Okay.
one other competitor,
Wow.
who I ended up passing during that time.
Mhm.
But then at mile 88, I saw 2 competitors, and I passed both of them and recognized, yo, these guys are, like, limping, they're crawling. I I've got so much more in the tank. Let's go. And so I busted out a 9 minute and 30-second mile at mile 88 with
Damn.
2 other, like, around 10-minute miles there. And at that point, a 10-minute mile is really impressive at that at that stage in the race.
Yeah.
And so, I did that, and then I ran the last 5 miles to the finish line. So, that
Mm.
savage side to myself, that psycho side to myself really came out on those moments when I need to ask myself, "Okay, motherfucker, what do you have? If you're gonna give it, this is the time to give it. Period. Do it. Get it done."
Mm.
And, there's, I feel like I'm very chill a majority of the time,
Uh-huh.
but when the time comes for that side to come out,
Mhm.
tap in, baby. Tap
Mm.
in because we're going on a ride of competitive spirit, and it's fun. It's fun to ride that wave.
Mm. Okay. I love that because it really does sound like you're getting to basics, like that primal side is the uncivilized side per se, as some might call it, but other people might call it like a berserker mode, or
Mhm,
someone might call it like rage mode or something like that.
mhm,
Whenever it's just red, all they can see is red. That's kind of what it reminds me of because I mean, I've been there, I've been blinded by rage, but I've
mm,
also been blinded by that moment of adrenaline that's like, "Just gotta get this done, like, in this moment," kinda thing,
mhm,
and it's interesting that you're talking about it because it really would kind of be like the best way that the body is like, "Hey, I need to reset this, so let's fucking dig deep, let's tap into, like, what makes us human, what makes us, like, the apex predator or whatever, and just reset the nerves,"
mhm.
because you can't push yourself if you're sitting there and you're limping along, and you can probably push through that limp, but unless you're sitting there nice and healthy, it's going to kind of mess it up more.
Yeah,
But
yeah, 100%, and, that's something I'm so grateful for is that through all of this, my body's held up very well.
mhm,
Obviously dealt with the shin splints as I talked about before, but,
mhm.
uh, you know, eh, I finished the race, and it was difficult to walk shortly after.
Mhm.
Just blood pooling in my muscles and inflammation and stuff like that, and,
Yeah.
I was using a pitching wedge as a cane, for the next 24 hours,
Yeah.
but it was only the next 24 hours. I was
Ah,
on stage talking at Canadelic 12 hours later, and if you watch the
mhm.
video, I'm moving around without much restriction. You wouldn't have assumed that I just ran 100 miles right before. Not that you would ever assume that someone just ran 100 miles, but but yeah, you wouldn't have noticed that there was any problem,
Uh-huh.
and it was 48 hours after the race, and I'd been laying on the couch with my legs up just to drain everything out and
Mhm.
help myself heal. But 48 hours after the race, I got up off the couch and I walked around the house and I said, "Okay, I have no physical restrictions. There's no pain. There's soreness and discomfort, but no pain.
Mhm.
Okay, so that wasn't a big enough challenge."
Damn.
Yeah. And that's a wild place to be at?
Uh-huh. Oh, that's because it's the exact opposite of where you were feeling before, right? Like, going from, like, I can't do this kind of stuff to I wanna push myself and see what I can actually do for me, and you're not only doing it for yourself, you're kinda doing it for the world too because you're trying to push a message and help people along the way.
Yeah, man, and that's a really big thing, and it's really been my North Star through all of this, is
Mhm.
that there are those questions of why am I doing this?
Mhm.
And especially during the 46er, the first time I did that, I was in legitimate pain during that,
Mm.
and you learn a lot about the shoes that you should be wearing and stuff like that. So once you iron out those kinks and actually start training for the races,
Mhm.
that stuff doesn't come up just as much.
Uh-huh.
But there were so many questions during that of like, why am I doing this? And that that realization that what I'm doing is bigger than me, and that by doing things like this, I can potentially touch so many people who wouldn't otherwise have cared to listen to my message.
Mhm.
It's really fulfilling, and it really makes me feel like and know that what I'm doing is good, not only for me, not only for the rush that I get from the challenge, but on the type of impact that it's going to make for people as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because you're sitting here trying to let people know the benefits of psychedelics and how
Mhm.
it's not something that's just like, oh, go escape your problems for a few hours or a couple days, you know? It's something that's like, no, you're going to have like some spiritual revelation kind of stuff, and it's going to make you reckon with a lot of things you may not want to acknowledge. But at the same time, once you clear up that garbage and you clean your side of the street, per se, it's really interesting what happens because I'm imagining kind of what happened in I'm just speculating here, I'm guessing, extrapolating, whatever you want to call it. Whenever you had that realization up on that hike for Pikes Peak, was it kind of like, holy shit, like I am of like an animal. I am a beast, and no wonder why animals run away from me because and so it's like it may have taught you because I think in that sense I would have learned a sense of humility in a way of saying like, hey, I need to treat other animals, I need to treat other creatures with more respect, with more ease, with more grace, whatever like that, because
Mhm.
it's like they don't necessarily know better, and they're just trying to live their life. I'm trying to live my life. I'm like, it's a squirrel. So what if it's in my car?
One of my favorite, mushroom trips I ever had, I was sitting in a hammock down by Tampa Bay, and
Mhm.
there was a squirrel that came up into my hammock and was eating out of my hand during during the trip. So that was so much fun. I named him Sam. I couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl, so I figured Sam was a nice gender neutral name.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
And go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, what you're saying definitely has credence. I don't think it was really along the lines of what I was trying to say in terms of like my animalistic side coming out on that hike,
Mhm.
um, but just more so like, one of the big things that happens with psychedelics is like the ego death, right? The
Mhm.
forgetting of who you are, and maybe learning who you actually are, right?
Yeah.
Forgetting so the story that you told yourself of who you are, and
Mhm.
remembering who you actually are, or realizing who you actually are. And
Yeah.
in that moment, I felt like I finally shed a whole bunch of limiting beliefs that had
Mm.
existed about myself my whole life.
Mhm.
I gave this example. I don't know if we talked about this the last time I was on, but I really found my love for fitness very early. I was in sixth grade, and we did presidential fitness testing, which tested us in push-ups, sit-ups, mile run, shuttle run, and a
Mhm.
flexibility assessment.
Yeah.
And when we did that, I had been a baseball player and a soccer player and a basketball player, and I was one of the best kids on every team I played on. And so I thought I would smoke this, but I did not get the mark in any of the tests. And
Wow.
so I went to my PE teacher and I was like, hey, that's wrong. Let me prove it to you. So she gave me a month to retest. And so I went home and I ran and I did push ups and sit ups and I stretched. And don't you know it? A month later, I got the Presidential Fitness Award. And so, from that
Wow.
point forward, I had been someone that made fitness a non-negotiable in my life. It was just something that was always something that I did. It was a piece of who I am.
Mhm.
And that's all fine and dandy, but this didn't change. And I never really
Mm.
shed the limiting belief that I wasn't that overweight kid that didn't get the Presidential Fitness Award on the first try. because there were a
Ah.
bunch of athletes in my class who did get it on the first
Mhm.
try. But I was eating microwave pizzas like crazy and drinking vanilla Cokes, a six-pack at a time, you know? And
Mhm.
so I was overweight, I was chubby. I remember taking off my shirt at the pool and a kid being like, and you know, I was always an athlete. I played baseball and stuff like this, but I never like really committed to the belief that I could be an athlete, that I was somebody who was more than just that little fat kid that drank too much soda, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and in that moment on the hike at Pikes Peak, that was 2 weeks before I ran the 46 miler the first time.
Mhm.
I saw this shadow of who I am, you know, I saw
Mhm.
the John that was in that trail, in the woods, on this mountain with nobody else around, and
Mhm.
recognize the animal that I am.
Yeah.
And it was a really big moment for me to realize that and feel that.
Mhm.
And, you know, I feel like that really helped to me to understand who I am in other people's eyes and who I am from an animalistic standpoint.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And I'm sorry that I try to like put thoughts in your brain or whatever. I was just like, that may have like probably what been in my head. But that's more
Mhm,
probably because in my household growing up and stuff, anger was like the prominent, like over like probably the second overall feeling and stuff. And
mm,
so that was my initial reaction or response to a lot of things. And so that is probably where that all comes into place. So I'm really glad that your revelation was totally different because that is, I mean, it's so freaking cool because that really just highlights that difference between what we see and what we perceive versus what reality is. And
mhm,
that difference is what keeps a lot of us in addiction and bad cycles, bad patterns, going back to that toxic ex or anything like that, you know? And we can sit there and we can change that because it sounds like you either some people would say maybe came to yourself, maybe you dropped into your body for the first time in a
mhm.
while, who knows, but it sounds like that would have been like just a eureka, a quite literal epiphany, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that hike was so it was monumental for so many reasons. You
Mhm.
know, while I was on that hike, I came to the conclusion that I was not someone who wrote a book. I was an author, and I would continue to write, and that, you know, the idea for my second book came to me while on that hike. And it came to me primarily because of the kindness of other people that I experienced that day. Um,
Mm.
you know, that day and the day that, you know, preceded that. And there were so many pieces of it that just highlighted the importance and value of other people and how impossible it is for us to do anything by
Mhm.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 2 weeks after so I'll back up. Yeah, so, you know, like that day I got up to the halfway point at the hike,
Mhm.
and there were 3 girls there. I thought that there would be running water at the camp that they had set up halfway up the mountain. There was
Mhm.
not running water, and so I wasn't able to refill my hydro flask, and one of the girls gave me her filter to use, and one of them gave
Ah.
me a Celsius packet, and so, you know, just,
Huh.
like, really grateful for stuff like that, and,
Mhm.
yeah, a guy that I met the day before I was out in Colorado, he helped me buy a couple of joints, and he didn't steal my money from me when I gave him 20 bucks, and he told me he'd be back in a half an hour. So, you know, I was just grateful for that. And, you know, a couple other things. And a big part of, you know, the positivity and those emotions centered around my relationship with my dad, which, you know, we had gone out to Colorado together for a family reunion. It was his sisters and his her sisters and my uncle's 50th anniversary. So we
Mhm.
were all out there as a family for that. And you know, during that experience, there was a big part of me that was like, okay, when I was when I was 2 years old, my dad brought me out to Colorado and to Pikes Peak, and we drove to the top of Pikes Peak.
Mhm.
And so as we went back out there, he asked me, "Hey, John, do you want to drive to the top of Pikes Peak again like you did when you were 2?" And I was like,
Uh-huh.
"No, I'm gonna hike it." I should have done more research about what hiking a 14,000-foot mountain the day after flying in from 0 elevation would be like. I don't advise it. It might be
Uh-uh.
possible, but I felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
so, like, at the whole time I'm hiking up this and I'm having, like, so many really powerful realizations and, just
Mhm.
reflections on different pieces of life, and, I thought about the one friend that I still had from grade school, and he, and I had very similar relationships with our fathers when we were in high school,
Mhm.
and that's that they were both alcoholics, and, we didn't have great relationships with them,
Mhm.
and he we were both bullied heavily. We both have the same name, John, so there's just so many parallels.
Mhm.
Um, and he had a fight with his father in probably 2020,
Okay.
2021. And he told his father, "I hope you fucking die." And he left the house. And 2 months later, his father had a heart attack. And it was the last thing he said to him. And
Mm.
while my father and I had a number of really, you know, bad fights and emotional times over the years, there was never a time when I had wished that he died or said anything nearly that scathing to him.
Mhm.
And so, while I was doing this hike, it made me reflect on that, that the whole dichotomy between John and his father and not being able to repair the relationship with him. And at that time, I had just recently published my book, and my father and I had gone from uh, really, having a drinking buddies as adults kind of relationship that never really got to the heart of anything that had
Mhm.
affected us earlier in life, to having this beautiful relationship that was growing and budding, and that I really felt he was in my corner for the first time in my life. Well, not the first time in my life, the first time in my adult life, I should say.
Mm.
And and I got to that halfway point of the mountain, and I realized that I would die if I tried to continue going to the top. And my father was supposed to meet me at the top.
Mhm.
Uh, Meet Me at the Top is the name of the book, by the way.
Ah.
Future book. Haven't have started writing like 15 pages of it, so this is way far in the distance.
Oh.
Um, but yeah, so I text someone like, "Pops, I'm coming back down."
Mhm.
And so, just so much gratitude that my father was is there for me to be able to grab me from the bottom of the mountain, and we drive up together, and it's just like beautiful, in my mind, father son redemption arc story type thing where, we go from having a relationship that is really estranged in a number of different ways
Mhm.
to him literally bringing me to the mountaintop and us reaching the top of the mountain together. And it was just beautiful.
Oh man, that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, and thanks for giving us a sneak peek to the book.
Yeah, we're gonna be a couple years down the road, but eventually.
Fair enough. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing is that we don't necessarily create works of art instantaneously, and maybe it happens in a moment or something, or a moment inspires that, but it
Hmm.
usually takes some time to get things just right, quote unquote.
Yep.
And oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and the big thing to that too is, that the book, from the time that I had the inspiration for it, I've said that it's going to center around the kindness of people in your life, and how it's impossible to do anything on your own. And that theme just gets stronger and stronger the more that I experience, because, like the 100 miler,
Mhm.
first off, my wife also woke up at 3:30 in the morning to drive me out to the starting line, is
Mhm.
there for me, taking pictures and making sure that I'm safe and everything like that, and wishing me well before coming back home. I don't know if she got to nap or not, but uh, you know, got picked up by my dad at some time around, I don't know, 10 o'clock, something like that.
Mhm.
Drove out to the 30-mile mark where I met her 5 hours into the race, and then she biked alongside me for the next 70 miles. So,
Huh.
and then my dad was in the car. He drove alongside, going from checkpoint to checkpoint and making sure that we had all the supplies.
Oh
I
wow.
had two friends that showed up, one at mile 50, and he ran for 16 miles, and then another that showed up at mile 76 and ran the last stretch with me.
Huh.
And so, just so much gratitude for those people in my life and being there for me in this intense moment of struggle and triumph and self-realization. But you know none of those things happen unless there are these incredible people in my life uh, helping me make that happen. And so, the theme of that book, that anything that we do is done with the help and support of other people. It just gets reinforced more and more every day.
Oh man, that is so good because it's one of those things that you could probably honestly say I did that all by myself because no one can run for you. And yet you choose not to because you recognize the support, you recognize the work that other people do, and you're willing to sit there and turn it right back and help them out too. And you're carrying out for them. And it's just, it's a beautiful world whenever we can actually recognize what others do for us and we want to do the same for them.
Yeah, man. That's exactly it. Gratitude. Gratitude is so big.
Hmm.
Gratitude to the creator, gratitude towards the people in your life,
Yeah.
and just gratitude all around. Gratitude for the gift of life and the chance to live it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And it all comes from that perspective shift, that mindset. Your mindset is your reality.
Nailed it. There's the
Well,
plug right there. Boop.
well, John, if you're up for it, I do have a little bit of a game show ready for you if you want to try it out tonight.
Oh, hell yeah. Spin that wheel, baby.
All right. Well, all right. So, the title for our game show today is The Psyched Circuit, Heavy Lifts and Long Roads. So, John, we're putting you through a mental circuit. There are three stations that you have to answer as quickly as possible. Don't overthink it, just trust your gut. Are you ready?
Hit me.
All right. Station number one, heavy lift, philosophy. The constraint, you must answer deep questions in 5 words or less. So, number one, what is the heaviest emotion to carry?
Mm, guilt.
Guilt. Okay. Number two, what is the strongest muscle in the human body, metaphorically?
Courage.
Courage. Ooh, okay. Number three, define sanity for a runner.
Ooh, sanity. Hmm. All right, in less than 5 words.
For a runner, what kept you sane while you ran?
One bite at a time. Nailed it.
Nice. All right, number four, what is the opposite of addiction?
Hmm. Presence.
Presence. Okay. And then last for station one, if your trauma was a weight plate, how heavy is it today?
Today it's an empty bar.
Ooh, okay. Light reps, uh,
Light reps.
lightweight, lots of reps, right?
Hmm.
All right. So up to station two, the sprint, word association. The constraint, I say a word and you say the first thing that pops into your head as an immediate response. Ready?
Hit me.
Okay. Silence.
Disturbed.
Psilocybin.
Mushies.
Failure.
Not an option.
Ooh. Dopamine.
Ecstasy.
Legacy.
Barbell. It's a gym.
All right. Mile 99.
Never came.
Never.
Interestingly enough, the course was a little short. It was only 98 miles. So in
Ah.
total, I ran 98.38 miles. So I actually did not reach mile 99, which I was a little bit disappointed about because I told you I ran the last 5 miles.
Uh-huh.
Um, really, I was at mile 94 and a half, and I was like, okay, I can do the last five and a half. And I really ended up doing the last like four from that point, and
Mm.
I was expecting to push it even further for the last stretch and was like, okay, like I know that the finish line is going to be out there somewhere, but the
Mhm.
finish line was about a mile earlier than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, fuck, I wish I had pushed it because I think I still had another sub 10 mile under my belt. So,
Oh
yeah,
man.
whatever.
Well, I mean, we did talk about having that relief at the beginning of the episode. I imagine that was kind of a relief at the same time too, just like, oh, it's almost over.
Hmm. Yeah.
And last up, stillness.
I just pictured a pond.
Okay. That works. That works. All right. Last station. Are you ready?
Dun dun dun.
Station 3, the cool down or the wisdom. So, I just need you to fill in the blank. Number 1, if I could go back to the old John 5 minutes before he took the mushrooms, I would tell him blank.
Not a single fucking word. Nope. Gotta experience it, man. Have fun. This is the time of your life, baby.
Hell yeah. All right. Number 2, the one lie we tell ourselves about recovery is blank.
That's a little bit difficult for me just because my experience is so different than so many other people's.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that the one thing that we tell ourselves about it was the one thing that we tell ourselves that's wrong.
One lie. Yeah. Wrong
One
about
lie.
recovery. Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Can I throw in mine?
yeah, hit me.
That it's going to be boring.
Mm, yeah. It's about how you define fun, right? I mean,
Yep.
if the only thing that you think is fun is going out and getting hammered,
Hmm.
yeah, it's gonna be boring, but it's about redefining what fun is for you, redefining what interesting is.
Yeah. Because,
Once you can look past that immediate fun, right?
hmm,
Life's a lot more fun.
yeah, exactly. And on that note, it may be fun for you to run 100 miles. I don't think it's going to be very fun for me. Number
Maybe
two.
you can bike it first. We'll start with that.
That'll work. We'll try that.
Cool.
All right. Number two. Sorry. Number three. You know you are truly healing when blank.
You know you're truly healing when you don't cringe at the past.
Ooh. I like that one. That yeah. Big check mark on that one. Because I mean, whenever you look back at high school pictures, it's kind of like, why would I dress like that? Or what was I thinking with the haircut? Or like, wow, I remember the thought I had during that school picture or something, and it's like, but I think you're right. And if we can not cringe thinking back to things, maybe we are really healing.
Mhm. Yep.
So, John Borden, Mr. Strongman, we at Retrieving Sanity have decided to award you with the honorary title of the Alchemist of Endurance because
Okay.
you transformed the lead of your addiction into the gold of athletic and mental achievement while enduring your chosen suffering.
Hell yeah, brother. The Alchemist of
And Alchemist of Endurance.
okay, love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Have you read The Alchemist?
Like from the Nicholas Flamel.
No. Uh, Paulo Coelho?
Probably not that one,
Okay.
but
It's
probably
a
might need to.
yeah, dude, get the audiobook. It's a 4-hour, listen,
Huh.
very easy. Um, and yeah, it's dope. It's dope. It's a great story about understanding potential and understanding what your true goals are in life and going towards them. So it's a really powerful story.
Heck yeah, man.
Actually, I had a friend that recommended it to me a year and a half ago, and I actually spoke to him on the phone today for the first time in probably a year. So
Huh.
funny how those things come up.
Synchronicity is one of those weird things that just seems to happen the more that we're doing the next right thing, you
Hmm.
know? So, well, John, I did forget to ask earlier today on this episode, but where can the people find you if they're looking to recruit you and your psychedelic help for fitness?
Yeah, man. So easiest place is my Instagram at Johnny B, JohnniBe. You
Okay.
can also find me on X at psilocybin fit, PSILOCYBIN fit. And then my website, getpsychedfitness.com. You can learn all about me, my beautiful wife, baby T, and the incredible things that we do here in St. Pete to lift up the fitness community. And you can reach out to us about working virtually or, or just say hi.
Awesome. Damn, John, it's been just awesome hearing all about this, and I'm excited to see what you've got going in the future. Do you have a, I mean, you already said that 100 miles wasn't enough. So, what other, is there a over 100-mile marathon? Like,
Yeah, yeah. My uh, one of my, I guess now friends, this guy Dante just ran 500 miles on psychedelics. That was just part of like his own personal journey type thing. But yeah, there's organized races in the U.S. I think the longest one, I don't know if it's the longest, but it's the longest that I know about is the Moab 240. It's a 238.3 mile race through the Moab Desert. Um, and so that is a potential in the future. There's an Across Florida 200, which is in November of next year. So maybe that's on the schedule. I was
ooh,
talking to my wife yesterday, and I said that there's three things that I want to do in this coming year.
mm-hmm,
One is a Spartan Ultra, so they have 31-mile Spartan races,
mm-hmm.
and there's one in Jersey, not far from where I grew up. So I think I'm going to make a pilgrimage back home for that in April. I want to do a another 100+ mile race, but with some sort of aspect to it that makes it more challenging or interesting, whether it's a lot of elevation gain or something like that. Um, and I'm going to be an Ironman by this time next year.
Ooh,
I've never really swam.
uh-huh,
I should say I completed a triathlon last April.
okay,
Up until a month before that, I had only ever really done a doggy paddle. Um, I sink like a stone. I do not have the ability to float currently. And
yeah,
so in that race, I finished as the 28th slowest swimmer out of 870 people.
damn,
Yeah. I was the 60th fastest runner.
yeah,
So, you know, I'm in shape. I was in shape, right?
yeah,
I have no idea how to swim. So,
mm,
if I can complete a two, when I complete a 2.4 mile swim this coming year as part of my first Ironman, it'll be a very fulfilling thing to know that I've conquered something that has been an inability of mine my whole life. So that'll be really fun.
hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And I hope that we get to speak to you after that endeavor and hopefully even before that too.
Oh yeah,
Because
brother.
hell yeah, because this has been an awesome conversation. And real quick, I just want to ask you, have you heard of Carl Bushby?
I don't think so.
So, for everyone out there, this is a little bit of a side tangent. Main episode is over, I'm sure, but there's probably going to be some gold here, anyways. So, in 1998, Carl Bushby made a bet at a bar that he could walk from Chile to England. 27 years later, he's still walking. He survived the Darien Gap 57 days in a Russian prison and traversing the Bering Strait on shifting ice.
What?
Yeah, he's still walking to England. Yeah. Read his story. It is freaking crazy.
What's the name? Carl Bisbee?
Karl, and then last name Bushby, Bushby. It's pretty interesting. Like I don't remember if it
Oh
says how
my
much.
god.
Yeah, 27 years or so. And yeah, it's ridiculous. Like reading some of the stuff, I'm just like, how? He started off with $500, a paper map, and that's pretty much it. And he told himself if he has to go back for any reason or he can't cross a certain way or whatever, he returns to the exact inch where he was and then just finds another path. So I was like, so I don't remember how many times he's gone back and forth. It's a wild story. It's right up
That's
your alley.
insanity. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a proper psycho right there.
Yeah, off of a bar bet. Who would have thought? Like that
Hey, well,
is,
you at least it was word.
yeah, yeah, right. And like, uh, it's better than I was. That's for sure.
Right.
Well, John, is there anything that you'd like to leave the audience with this evening?
No, I didn't mention my book in terms of where to contact me. Your Mindset is Your Reality is
Hmm,
available on Amazon. It's available on Kindle, on Audible, and on Apple audiobooks. So
yeah,
check it out there. It's got a purple cover. Your Mindset is Your Reality.
awesome. Well, John, thank you very much for being on Retrieving Sanity again. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. And I'm just ready to hear about how many socks or shoes you had to throw away during the Ironman. So, with that, everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And this has been Keegan. This has been John. And as always, you've got to love yourself. Try to love others if you can, but you've got to love yourself first. Call 988 if you're having a mental health crisis of any kind. And if you're in the LGBTQ plus community, you can dial the Trevor Project up in Canada. And I think that's all we've got for now. I just hope that you have a great rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is that you may be watching or listening. And we'll see you next time. Much love. Schlan and